This is a recording of this year's Virtual Residency Fair. We'd like to take the time to thank the programs that volunteered their time to present to this year's applicants. This year's PM&R Scholars Virtual Residency Fair is supported by PM&R Recap and Ultrasound Guidance. PM&R Recap is the leading resource for your physiatry board preparation, clinical preparation, audition rotations, and beyond. PM&R Recap offers 35 hours of review videos, hundreds of review questions, and oral board cases to help you become the best physiatrist that you can be. Head to pmnrrecap.com to learn more. Ultrasound Guidance is the innovative new online ultrasound learning platform that gives you instant access to expert instruction. With rapid scans and complete scans of every joint and peripheral nerve, Ultrasound Guidance is the perfect way to jumpstart your MSK ultrasound learning. Visit ultrasoundguidance.com to learn more.
I'm going to try to put on presentation. Oh, man. So I had at least one resident who was trying to get on, and he couldn't get on. Or I don't know if he got on. So you guys are stuck with me. I am Mike Ander. I am the program director for Michigan State. So I think somebody else will be getting on, but maybe not. We'll see. So we are MSU, and then we changed our program to Sparrow because of the hospital. Sparrow Hospital took over the funding and really didn't change the program very much. The faculty are all MSU, but it did change the sponsorship and the name. So if you look for us, we are listed under Sparrow. We've been a program since about, I think, 1992. There's three hospitals or three places that we are mostly affiliated with: Sparrow, McLaren Hospital System, and then MSU College of Osteopathic Medicine. Here's a great picture of Sparrow Hospital. It's I think 500 and some bed, level 1 trauma in Lansing, Michigan. And then we have a 40-bed rehab ward there that we, Sparrow Hospital and Mary Free Bed, jointly run so that we have input with Mary Free Bed and Sparrow. And that we do, probably 3/4 of our patients come from Sparrow. Now, a chunk of our patients come from McLaren of Greater Lansing. And this is a new hospital that just opened up in March of 22. Oh boy, I'm going to say 350 beds, but I might be wrong on that. So we do consults there, and then we have outpatient EMG lab and probably some Botox, and there'll be some more outpatients that will probably grow over the next few years. So we are a 4-year program. So if you're going to come to us, it's kind of required to do 4 years. The first year curriculum, oops, I don't know why that moved. We try to have some easy months, 4 or 5 easy months of counting rehab. We do 13 months, so 4-week rotations. And you'll work within the hospital with peds, trauma, ICU, 2 months of neurology, family medicine. So a pretty good way, and you kind of know the hospital pretty good. So that when you come in as a PG2, that you will know the hospital well. You'll know the attendings, you'll know the EMR, and you don't have to move between the first and second year. Then we do have a fair amount of variability in how we do this, but in general, you're going to do inpatient all 3 years. You're going to do EMG all 3 years. You're going to do outpatient all 3 years. And then we also go to Flint for I'm going to say about 1/8 of the rotations, which is about a 45-minute drive. And that's a McLaren facility there. And we have half outpatient there and then an inpatient general rehab ward there. Then McLaren is in Lansing, and then Sparrow is professional building. That's an outpatient building that's attached to the hospital that it looks like T just got on, so you can probably give him questions and he can answer them because I can't do both. So at Sparrow Professional Building, we have outpatient clinic where we do EMGs, Botox, ultrasound injections. We have our resident continuity clinic, senior clinic. And then during your PG3 year, Mary Free Bed is in Grand Rapids, and we work really closely with them. And we have 2 months of inpatient spinal cord injury there. and 1 month of primarily inpatient pediatric rehab. And then the rest of the time is in Lansing or Flint. In your senior year, we have a full-blown elective. So most people use the elective month, and it doesn't have to be a month. It's 20 days, and it can be kind of spread out, usually in July, August, September, or sometimes October of your senior year to interview. So if you're gonna, most of our people are going for fellowships or jobs that they want to look at, they can go around, interview. They don't have to use vacation days, and we will consider that as part of your elective. We have like 6 months of selective. Selective means we want you in town. One of those selectives could be, we have an EMG rotation in Zambia. We're pretty good friends with the neurologist in Zambia who does EMG, and so she does training there. She's one of our old fellows. And so, I kind of joke that our senior resident that goes there is the second best electromyographer in the country. But some of our residents, COVID kind of bashed that, but I think he's going to go this year in January. Otherwise, we do have a month of ortho, a month of sports medicine. We do have interventional spine, ultrasound, outpatient. You have a moderate amount of options with selective, depending on how people do. If people are learning and don't have any educational deficits, we give a fair amount of leeway in exactly what they do. We do have an LTAC coverage. We do have some exposure to SNFs and SARS. We were accredited by AOA. We didn't get accreditation, and I'm applying for that right now, and that's a story. But anyway, we're at an osteopathic college. We have a whole month of OMM. We integrate OMM. So for those of you that are DOs, we are pretty heavily osteopathically oriented. I want to say I'm about the only MD faculty here. There's one other at least, maybe two others, but most of the faculty are DOs. We use Epic. You don't have to move between your first and second year. The level, Sparrow Hospital's pretty good. We have a stroke center that's quite good with interventional stroke, level 1 trauma. And there's lots of residencies and specialties and subspecialties. There's a lot of hands-on learning. You're going to get, about 50% inpatient, about 50% outpatient. I talked about ultrasound. There's a fair amount of sports coverage available. We have resident-driven, a lot of resident-driven didactics in the senior year. The first couple of years, we have a lot of kind of basic stuff for the PG2s, like anatomy, practical test, anatomy, practical physical exam. We have anatomy lab twice a year, which all the residents retake. We have ultrasound in anatomy lab 3 times a year. We do that with the sports medicine fellowship. Hopefully I'll talk about our fellowship coming up. And then we have all home call. Usually you take a week call at home. Occasionally, I think residents probably get called in once or twice a year. We have medicine consult on every single patient. So if somebody's coding in the middle of the night, you may hear about it, you may have questions, but if you have to go into run a code, it's too late. So, that's kind of a good thing, I would argue. If you come on it, you'll be a faculty member at MSU, so you have the access to library, intramurals, all that kind of stuff. We have some mileage reimbursement between Flint and Grand Rapids. There's a fair amount of diversity kind of between Flint, Lansing, Grand Rapids, different places to work. Most of our chief residents are co-chief responsibilities, and we spread it out between the PG4s. Moonlighting, we had really great moonlighting until March of 22 when they opened the new hospital. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm open to it for residents, but right now we don't have that opportunity built in. We have fellowships, so we have the opportunity to do OMM fellowship opportunity. We have every year we have between one or two interventional spine, which also works with EMG, and a sports fellowship. So right now we have 2 physiatrists who are doing ACGME accredited sports fellowships at MSU. They're both, ex-residents of our program. And So that's part of our fellowship. We also are associated with an interventional fellowship in Flint with our faculty there. Okay. Our didactics are Monday morning, like Penn State. Sounds like a pretty good idea, except we don't serve breakfast, so sorry. We don't start at 8:45. We start sometimes at 7, sometimes at 8. Usually ends at 11 or 12. It's protected, so the faculty covers the inpatient on those days. We do have part of that in an anatomy review course, so the seniors teach that their senior year. So our residents know anatomy pretty well, and we go to the cadaver lab twice a year, and then another 3 more times for ultrasound, so it's 5. Didactics, the co-chief residents have a lot of control over that, and they can invite people that they want. And then we do the self-assessment test for the AA, PM&R, and the AANEM. I'm bumping up on my time here, are we? $1,500 a year for conferences. I talked about Zambia. PG3 year, you go to P&O course at Ryan in Chicago. I talked about the senior year electives. We got a lot of DOs, and we're pretty focused on that. Our scholarly activity has been surprisingly good. This is from 2 years ago. How many we had? Presentations in some publications. You get a food stipend, $1,500 a year. Time off for education and conferences. We have 20 days off for vacation. We don't take, and you get 20 research half days, or 20 research days over your career, 40 half days. And if you present, you get travel money. Lansing, Michigan is not exactly the garden spot of America. So if you really want mountains and ocean, this is a bad place. But otherwise, Lansing's pretty good. It's at a Big Ten university. There's all the perks of that. It's a capital, world-class Big Ten. We're getting ready to tailgate tomorrow night. Pretty good restaurants, low cost of living. But, I can't sell Lansing as the best place in the world to be here. Let's see. Our group works together. We think we're supportive work environment. You're going to get our inpatient had one of the top rankings nationally for patient satisfaction. Medical students can do it through VLSO. We want you to mention Sparrow and MSU in your personal statement. With this whole thing with signaling this year, you guys are going through that. So if you rotated with us, don't signal. I think I'm pretty close to 9:05. Here's the attending introductions and faculty tours. We got some resident testimonies that indeed everything I'm saying is not a lie. This should be me and Keating. There's our chair, associate program director, and me. We got bobbleheads. That's pretty cool. There's pictures of us at graduation. It's Halloween. They dressed up as me and Sylvain. Beer bets. So we have a pretty good time. Any questions that I can answer in a few minutes? That's us at the AANEM.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew. You have 8 more minutes, so whoever has any questions.
Oh, I do. I thought I ended at 9:05. Sorry. I can babble more. But questions? What do you got? T, you want to add anything if you're on?
Yeah, so there was a question in the text box about how much interaction does PGY1 have with the rest of PM&R. I would say that you guys do have a lot of interaction. You do have 1 month of PM&R rotation during your PGY1, and then throughout the year, we involve the PGY1s in our didactics. Not every rotation, but most rotations, you actually are allowed to come to our PM&R didactics, which is very nice. So you get to know all the upper senior residents, all the faculty. So I would say that's one of the perks about being in a categorical program within the same hospital, is that you will get to really interact with us. PGY2.
Unless you're on ICU or surgical trauma, we require them to let you out on Monday morning. So they come probably, I don't know, Key, maybe 2/3 of the time. It seems like we have PG1s at didactics for the anatomy and all that stuff.
Absolutely. And then the next question I see is for MDs wanting to learn OMT, what opportunity exists. So good questions. MSU OMM department is probably the largest OMM department in the whole country. You will have 1 month of OMM rotation, regardless of whether you are MD or DO. So if you want to learn OMT, you will have the opportunity to do that. It's
Yeah, I'm an MD that kind of learned it. It's doable. We will probably, if we get when we get AOA accreditation, we will have, I think, a boot. We'll do what the AOA requires. It'll probably be a boot camp that'll be 1 to 2 weeks for MDs to learn the basics. What else you got, Key? I'm not on the.
That's the only 2 questions so far that I have. Yeah.
So usually people ask, do we have any big plans for the future? And my short answer to that is no. We're trying to kind of change. I don't think we're going to make any big changes in what we're doing. What we're doing now will be pretty close, but there's always opportunities. I mean, COVID, we've had 25 changes. I know for sure we're going to change, and I know for sure I don't know what it's going to be. I've been go ahead.
Dr. Andrew, would you mind going back to the PowerPoint slide with the contact informations?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Very good.
This one or that one?
This one right. Yep.
Yeah.
There is a question about how many residents have kids. I would say probably 90% of the residents are married or in relationship, and then a lot of them have kids. When you say so, Dr. Andrew?
Yes.
We're very supportive of
I don't
families.
think it's 90, is it? I'm going to say 82.4. No.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of them are married with kids.
Yeah. So we're very supportive of it. I think one of my fellow co-chief resident recently have a baby girl, and I think he was able to take the time off to be with his family, and the resident help each other out in terms of splitting the coverage. So we're very supportive of that. That will not be an issue in our residency. And then there's a question about signaling if you rotate as a medical student. Yes, so as you guys are aware, this year ERAS introduced a new feature where you can signal interest in particular residencies. Dr. Anne, would you be able to go back to the previous slide with the for the video? Yes. No, back to the QR codes. The QR codes. Yes. So that only applies if you are rotating with us. If you are not rotating with us, and you are interested in us, then I think you should signal our program. If you are going to audition with us in person in Lansing, and you are applying this cycle to our program, please do not signal our program. And I already sent an email out to those people that are applying to our program and rotating with us. So if you didn't receive that email, it means it was not applicable to you. The next question I see here is, do MSU residents share rotation with Mary Free Bed residents when you head over to Mary Free Bed? The answer is yes. We do have a long established relationship with the Mary Free Bed Hospital in Grand Rapids. Our residents that during their PGY3, they do spend 3 months in Grand Rapids at the big Mary Free Bed Hospital, doing 2 months of spinal cord injury and then 1 month of pediatrics. You will get a travel stipend to go to Grand Rapids. So I personally feel like it was a very worthwhile experience. It's a different setting, and you get to have pretty good exposure to spinal cord injury and pediatrics there. And then the Mary Free Bed residents also do come to Lansing for EMG and sport med exposure as well. So there is a good relationship between our 2 programs.
Yeah, we had a Mary Free Bed resident with us today.
Yes. The next question is, do you review our applications with a holistic approach? Yes. We have a committee of residents and faculty that review applications that get sent over to us, and we do not put emphasis on any particular criteria, like not in terms of scores or anything like that. We look at application holistically, for the best fit, and everybody get a vote in our program on who we would like to rank. And Dr. Ender, if you want to chime in on that,
Yeah, even I get a vote. So we do this with the residents. Any residents who's involved gets one vote. I get one vote. We've been doing that for 25 years. And I think, we are committed to DEI. We're relatively diverse, but not as diverse as we could be or want to be. But yes, and the residents have people get the same vote I get.
Does MSU require a step 2 score for interview invitation? I don't think so, Dr. Eneri. I think as soon as you get your score, you need to send it to us. But if you don't have a step 2 score by the time of the application review, we will still consider you, right, Dr. Eneri? I think
it sure helps to have it. So if you don't have it, it doesn't help you. But I would agree that we will interview people without a step 2. We interview late in December and January.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, how much time do we have?
40 seconds. So.
Oh man, we're counting it down.
I just want to also just mention, in this last second. So I'm actually originally from Texas. I have never been to Michigan before, residency. And I think that Lansing is a very livable city. It's the capital of Michigan. There's everything that you need. There's MSU down the street. So you get all the college town, football, and all the shops and stores. And it's a very livable city. It's in the middle of Michigan. It's 1 hour to other major cities around Michigan. And I think it's a very good location. And winters are bad, but summers and falls are very pretty and very, the weather is amazing right now.
Yeah. We don't have mountains and we don't have ocean.
We do have lakes though.
We got lots of lakes. Oh yeah. It's not bad. I'm not gonna lie about it. But it is what it is.
Some of the lakes up north are amazing. Like the water is
Northern
crystal
Michigan,
blue. Yeah.
If you haven't seen the Great Lakes, they're pretty cool. They're like mini oceans.
Yeah. Feel free to reach out. If you have any question, you guys have Dr. Andrews and myself email. That's a last minute question here, Dr. Andrews. Would you recommend for or against short away rotations? Is this in relation to MSU or is it in general? Can Steve clarify your question for MSU? Dr. Andrew, I think right now, I don't think we are entertaining short away rotation at MSU, right?
Wait, if you're a resident going away for a short rotation?
No, for students, right, Steve?
It's pretty hard to do.
Okay. Like a visiting student.
Yeah, we're having trouble with that. We can have people come and shadow for a day.
Okay.
But rotations, the hospital has discouraged it. It's a pain, it's COVID, and we're going to follow the rules for remote interviews, which has pluses and minuses, as you guys know.
Well, thank you so much for talking about MSU and for the robust questions for this session. So I'd like to welcome Wash you next.
Thank you, guys.